Well, we were trying to change the world, you know. I mean, I had just come back from managing, I think it was a 10-month strike in the picket line in San Diego. Cesar and Dolores taught me how to organize there. And it was, you know, it was a blessing. So I came back to Tucson in 1972 and was like, well, now what am I supposed to do? And everybody that was working at the Manso Area Council had left because they thought it was going to be defunded. But I was young and it didn't matter to me. So I was like, okay, I'll apply for that job. And I was hired as director. And then I got to hire everybody else.
And so she hired me, Kathy Gomez from Barrio Juanita.
And me, Margarita Jauregui from Sobaco.
Ila, Concha Curley, Pachuca de Cases from East LA. I had family in Barrio Hollywood.
And there we went. And we just started off being wild and crazy.
And radical and doing everything that we wanted to do because, well, you know.
The word was Manso was going to be defunded. So what did we have to lose? We organized a program called Summer Crash. It was for each of the barrios. We would have a fiesta. We did one in Hollywood. And for some reason, that night, the police decided to surround El Rio. Helicopters came and they broke it all up and they beat up people.
And you know, that was the bridge that took us from being a fun, soft, traditional kind of community service kind of thing to organizing.
So we organized a campaign for community policing that was called Adam 1. It was the first community policing program in Tucson. 2 other sisters from Manzo
Lupe Castillo.
And Raquel Rubio Goldsmith.
were hired by the city to teach the officers Spanish and cultural immersion classes. And there was the Manso Ladies Club!
It sounded like a knitting group, but it was sort of like an undercover name.
Some of us, we stuffed bullets for Pancho Villa during the Revolution. We were solid sisters.
We would meet at St. Margaret's every Wednesday. And it was around that time that La Migra started raiding businesses. And one day, they raided El Rio Bakery. It happened on a Wednesday. So we were across the street making ceramics when we saw the vans pull up.
They're raiding the panaderia. We have to stop them. Come on.
We surrounded all the cars and everybody started screaming and yelling.
Put the word out there. Get everybody out.
Chisme and news goes through Hollywood in a hot second. All of a sudden, tons of people showed up and they were shouting, "You're not coming in! You don't have a search warrant!"
Get out of
How
here!
dare
Go
you be here
now
right
before
now?
I
Get
kick
out
you
of
out.
here.
So essentially, La Migra gave up and got chased out by the Manso Ladies Club! And so we figured out how to fight the raids ourselves. And then we began to train the community. How to regularize your status, what your rights are, the legal structures. The gift that I learned from Cesar and Dolores is to not be intimidated and to not look at things and think, well, I can't figure that out. Yes, you can figure it out. You just have to figure it out. And you can imagine being young and having mentors that told you that you can figure it out. Well, there's no ceilings. So I came to Manzo and hooked up with the neighborhood sisters, and they were completely open to no ceilings.
And then in 1976, we were raided by the Border Patrol. It was a 52-count felony indictment. They cleared out our offices. They took everything, every single file. They took our purses.
Okay, so Ernesto Portillo Sr. had KXCW. It was the only Spanish language station. So there we went, live on radio.
Atención comunidad, la migra a Unión con Cío Manso esta mañana. Se llevaron todos nuestros archivos. Si eres uno de nuestros clientes, ellos tienen tus datos. Tienes que irte de inmediato. Encuentre un lugar diferente para quedarse.
And nobody got picked up even though they had 400 files. And of course, we got defunded the day before we got indicted. So we had to keep raising money. But the money just kept coming in. It was so that we had tons of people that were very, very involved. We fought those indictments for a year, and eventually they were dropped.
Que viva Pablo!
Que viva!
But at the end of the 70s and the beginning of the 80s, people began to die in the desert.
And that changed the character of our immigration practice.
At that time, there was something called the Tucson Ecumenical Council, and John Fife was the pastor at Southside Presbyterian.
So we organized a group to support the migrants being detained in El Centro in California. We immediately organized a bond fund, generated about $3 million, and bonded out probably 3,200 people.
All of a sudden, there would be a hearing in New York City, and one in Chicago, one in San Antonio, one in Kansas City.
And so we organized committees in all of those cities. And that was the start of the sanctuary movement. I went to law school in '84. I went to Antioch in DC.
I got married, went to Hawaii, and stayed. Aloha.
I finally got to retire.
I became the manager of a vegetable warehouse at the border.
Lupe took all the asylum applications to Catholic Social Services. They had a refugee program there. Most of our clients got regularized with the amnesty of '86. Am I a community leader? No, the community doesn't need any leaders. I just put in my 2 cents. That's all. Nothing special. I share my gifts. Everybody has gifts. So this is my small part. Nothing special.